Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're taking a close look at Nigeria.
That's right.
We're using the newspaper headlines from April 17th, 2025 as our guide.
And it's quite a mix of stories, isn't it?
It really is. You've got the economy, security issues, politics, social stuff, just a whole range.
A real snapshot of the day.
Exactly. And we've also got some interesting did you know facts and a bit of history, too. So our mission today really is to sort of unpack all this information, pull out the key things, add some context, but, without making it overwhelming.
We want to help see the connections, understand what might be driving these things.
Right, and what it all might mean going forward.
Exactly. It's not just random events. There are threads connecting them.
Okay, let's dive in then. Economy first. There seems to be a bit of a puzzle.
Oh, what's that?
Well, one headline suggests petrol could drop to N800 a liter because global oil prices fell.
Okay, sounds good.
But then another says people are actually paying around N890.
Right.
That feels off.
Ah, yes, that apparent contradiction. It's interesting you picked that up straight away.
So what gives? Why the difference?
Well, even if global oil prices fall, it doesn't always translate directly or immediately at the pump here.
Why not?
There could be delays, existing stock bought at higher prices, maybe issues in the supply chain, import costs, taxes,
So inefficiencies or maybe just market dynamics within Nigeria itself.
Precisely. It often points to factors beyond just the crude price, and the Naira's value plays a huge role too.
Right. Speaking of the Naira, it's down again. And 1,620 to the dollar in the parallel market, the headlines say.
Yes, that weakening trend continues.
What are the ripple effects of that, broadly speaking?
Well, a weaker Naira makes anything imported more expensive. That's fuel for inflation, isn't it?
Definitely. Food, goods, everything costs more.
Exactly. Plus, it creates uncertainty. Businesses planning imports, investors. It makes things tricky. So for the listener, it basically means your money doesn't stretch as far.
Okay. Also on the energy front, there was a report Nigeria cut power to Niger Republic.
Yes.
But then it mentions a peace move later by the government. What's that about?
That sounds like geopolitics mixing with energy policy. Cutting power can be a pressure tactic.
A diplomatic lever.
Could be. The peace move might mean rethinking the strategy, perhaps considering the regional stability or impact on cross-border relations. It shows how energy isn't just economics, it's politics too.
Interesting balance. Okay. Shifting to agriculture now. The NSIA, the Sovereign Investment Authority, planning to exit the fertilizer program.
Yeah, that's a significant move.
Why would they do that? What's the impact?
It could be a strategic shift, maybe trying to get more private companies involved in fertilizer, aiming for a more market-driven approach perhaps.
But what does it mean for farmers and food prices?
That's the key question. It could affect fertilizer availability, maybe the cost. And that, ultimately links back to food production and what we pay for groceries.
Right. On a more positive economic note, though, Sahara Group and Amigo LNG have a gas purchase agreement.
Yes, that sounds like good news for the gas sector.
How so?
Well, deals like this mean investment. More investment can lead to more gas production, maybe better energy supply for Nigeria itself, and potentially more export revenue down the line. It's about developing those gas reserves we have.
Got it. Okay, let's pivot to a tougher subject. Security and justice. The headlines are quite stark here.
Unfortunately, yes.
144 people reported killed in Plateau and Benue by herdsmen in just 2 weeks.
Yes.
Horrifying.
It's deeply troubling. It highlights those ongoing, very complex conflicts over land and resources, often made worse by, climate factors, too.
And at the same time, news of hundreds of Boko Haram suspects arrested in Lagos. That's far from their usual base.
That's concerning, isn't it? It suggests their network might be wider, or they're attempting to spread their reach. Needs serious vigilance across the country.
And Plateau State is reacting, banning night grazing, bringing back vigilantes.
Which shows local authorities trying to respond to immediate threats. But those measures can be complicated too, sometimes with unintended side effects.
So it's like multiple fires burning at once.
Yeah.
Herder-farmer conflict, terrorism spreading.
Exactly. It really underscores the need for a comprehensive security approach, one that tackles the roots of local conflicts and the broader terrorism threat.
Then there's the international angle. Simon Ekpa's court appearance in Finland on terrorism charges.
Right. That shows Nigeria pursuing these cases across borders.
And Nigeria demanding the release of tourists detained in Cape Verde.
Which is about diplomatic engagement, protecting citizens abroad. So Nigeria is active on the international, legal, and diplomatic front.
Back home, the police chief summoned a Melipol team over that viral cash collection video.
Yes, seems like an effort to address misconduct within the force. Accountability.
And the EFCC going after internet fraudsters and Ponzi schemes.
That's crucial work. Protecting people from scams, trying to curb financial crime, which really hurts the economy and individuals.
It seems like a constant battle. And related, South Korea wants a drug baron extradited, and there were jail sentences for cocaine smugglers.
Yeah, the fight against drug trafficking is very much ongoing. It requires that international cooperation.
Okay, let's switch gears again. Politics and governance. President Tinubu flagging off that Ebony Calabar superhighway.
Big infrastructure projects are often highlighted, seen as drivers for growth.
And Mo Abudu making the Time 100 list. That's great recognition.
Absolutely. It boosts Nigeria's profile internationally. Good for soft power, maybe attracts positive attention, investment.
Then you have VP Shettima calling for collaboration.
Okay.
But Speaker Abbas warning the EU about Asian investors in Africa. Seems like slightly different messages on partnerships.
That's an interesting contrast. Shettima perhaps pushing for open doors, while Abbas might be raising concerns about, say, the terms or long-term impact of certain investments. Important questions about who benefits,
Right. We also saw the House of Reps ordering Remita to refund withheld TSA funds.
That's legislative oversight in action, holding payment systems accountable for handling public money. Important for transparency.
And this controversy over Idris Abdulkarim's song being banned, Afenifere reacted too.
That touches on freedom of expression, doesn't it? Where's the line between artistic comment and what the government deems acceptable? Always a sensitive area.
Definitely. Now, looking ahead to 2027 politics, Atiku claims a coalition is forming to challenge Tinubu.
The political maneuvering is already starting, it seems. Opposition trying to build alliances.
But then you have a bloc within the ruling APC, the Al-Makura-led group, pledging loyalty.
So the ruling party is trying to shore up its base, maintain unity, standard political dynamics.
And a note that PDP governors might not be able to stop this coalition idea.
That suggests some complex power plays within the opposition itself, perhaps. It's all getting quite fluid.
Plus, regional shifts. APC gaining control in Edo Assembly. Safe back as Southwest PDP chair.
Little snapshots of how things are changing on the ground, state by state, region by region.
Down in Rivers State, some local buzz. An administrator denied summoning Governor Fubara.
Okay, potential local tension there.
While someone named Dr. Ibis is talking up PPP agreements for the ports.
So focus on economic development strategies, specifically using private partnerships for infrastructure. That points to specific policy directions.
And we see Governor Sanwo-Olu in Lagos talking about loyalty and public service.
Emphasizing certain values.
And the Akwa Ibom governor giving his reasons for backing Tinubu. Political motivations coming through.
Yeah, it gives you glimpses into why politicians align the way they do.
Take a few more quick ones here. Lagos Assembly ruling on Speaker Obasa. Ekiti doing a hike and dine tourism thing.
State-level activities, governance, local initiatives.
An audit finding ghost workers in Asan. That's a perennial issue.
Yes, public sector accountability. Always a challenge.
And this one's quite something. The Sultan of Sokoto reportedly classifying social media as like a terrorist organization because of how harmful content spreads.
Wow. That's a very strong statement. That could really ignite a big debate about social media's role, its impact, and potential regulation. Very significant.
Definitely want to watch. Okay, let's touch on some social issues and local news briefly. Low Army recruitment registration among youth in the Southeast.
Yeah, that's interesting. Could be various reasons, economic factors, local attitudes, political sentiment, perhaps. Needs a closer look.
But on a positive note, the Nigerian Army appointed its first female spokesperson, LT Ankal NLA.
That's excellent news. A really positive step for inclusivity in the armed forces.
Good to see. And the Railway Corporation planning to link food centers to rail lines.
Smart idea. Using existing infrastructure to potentially help with food distribution, maybe even costs, practical stuff.
Then there's the FCT traffic service confirming illegal number plate sales. Everyday challenges.
Yeah, just maintaining basic order and regulation. Always ongoing work.
And the RDA planning floating solar for LASU, Lagos State University.
Nice. Renewable energy projects, especially for education hubs, that's forward thinking.
We also saw a sad story about a child rescued from abuse in Kaduna.
Heartbreaking, but good they were rescued.
Balanced by siblings in Delta, creating an education app. Nice bit of positive innovation.
Absolutely. Shows both the struggles and the resilience and creativity in communities.
And finally, commercial motorcyclists protesting levies in Ogun. Local economic grievances.
Right, grassroots economic pressures making themselves
Oh,
heard.
okay, let's lighten things up slightly with our did you know facts.
I always enjoy these.
First, decorating Easter eggs, that Pazanko tradition in Ukraine. It's ancient, symbolizes wishes for health, fertility.
Hmm.
Really beautiful.
That's fascinating. Such rich cultural history behind something many people do.
And did you know wind is actually silent?
Really? But you hear it howling.
Apparently the sound is just the air hitting things, trees, buildings, us,
Huh. Mind blown a little bit. Science is weird sometimes.
isn't it? Okay, today in history. On this date, April 17th, in 2012, James Ibori, former governor, was sentenced in the UK for money laundering.
Ah, yes, I remember that. A major corruption case with international dimensions.
And back in 1978, the communist coup in Afghanistan started with some reforms, like equal rights for women.
But then descended into decades of conflict. A really tragic trajectory.
Yeah, a stark reminder of how history can turn.
Definitely provides perspective on current events, too.
So to wrap up, we have this quote from Thomas Huxley. Try to learn something about everything and everything about something.
That feels very appropriate after covering such a wide range today, doesn't it?
It really does. You need that broad view,
Mm.
but also the ability to dig deeper into specifics.
And it's amazing how much insight you can get from just one day's headlines when you start connecting them.
Absolutely. The economy, security, politics, social life, they're all intertwined in complex ways.
You see the big national trends and also the very local, everyday impacts.
So maybe a final thought for our listeners to ponder. Considering everything we've touched on, the fuel prices, the security issues, the political shifts, the social snippets, which single headline, or maybe which theme, do you think might have the most lasting impact on Nigeria's future?
That's a great question. Lots to choose from.
And how do these different pieces maybe fit together in ways we haven't even fully discussed? Something to keep thinking about.
Definitely food for thought.
Well, thanks for joining us for this deep dive into Nigeria's headlines.
Thanks for having me. It was a fascinating discussion.